Oh, it's gripping stuff, isn't it? Right, let's take a look at what the people have been saying. On Rishi Sunak, 19% of you said that they had a somewhat unfavourable view. That's very typically British pass ag, isn't it? I've got a somewhat unfavourable view of that chap. Anyway, another 24% had a very unfavourable view of the PM. And when asked who they would vote for in the next general election, 46% of people in this poll said they will vote for Labour, 21% that they would vote for the Tories. On immigration, more than half of those surveyed say it's too high. I'd be keen to find out who the other people were, but anyway, only 13% said that it was about right. So I'm asking the question, are the Tories facing electoral oblivion? There we go. Are the Tories doomed? Joining me now is the former editor of The Sun, Kelvin Mackenzie, and political commentator Reem Ibrahim. So I will start when those two people eventually make their way onto our television screens. I will ask them who they think is going to win the general election. Grief, that took a long time. Kelvin, I'll start with you. Right, Kelvin, OK, so are the Tories finished?
Yes, they are. Yeah, completely finished. Totally and 101% washed up. This is going to be a slaughter beyond 97. Look, you might say that I would be a fairly natural conservative. In fact, they had to build a wall to stop me going further right. However, even I am challenged about who I vote for. The truth about the matter is I see that Javid went today. Hunt is going to lose in Farnham. Rab is out 100% in Esher. And I genuinely think that there is going to be a slaughter in Surrey. If there is a slaughter in Surrey, imagine what the rest of the country is going to be like. It is going to be beyond dreadful. And do you know what? They deserve it. And when Rishi goes, when he's slaughtered at the end of 24, the result of that will be we will have had effectively 6 Tory leaders in 8 years. It is an unbelievable destruction of a party of which all of us, including those like me, do no longer know what they believe in.
Well, look, let's be honest, yes, I get a lot of what you're saying there. Certainly the bit about someone needing to build a wall to stop you going further right. But, Reem, I'll throw it in your direction now. It's one thing potentially losing to a real tour de force, the likes of Tony Blair or something. But if any Conservative Party loses to Keir Starmer, it's the human equivalent of going cardboard shopping on a wet weekend.
No,
I mean, it's grim, isn't it?
It is grim, and I think that what we're looking at the moment is sort of oblivion for the next general election for the Conservative Party. But, I mean, I think we sort of tend to get caught up in the hysteria of the polls at the moment. We've still got quite a while till the next general election. The Conservative Party won't be going anywhere so long as we have the first-past-the-post majoritarian electoral system. So whilst we are seeing the heightening the polls of Reform UK and various other sort of more fringe, smaller political parties, actually what that's a reflection of is party members and Conservative voters seeing that the Conservative Party isn't Conservative anymore. Well, it hasn't been for the past 12 years. You'd expect, actually, the past 12 years of Conservative government that the country would have been a bit more Conservative, but it hasn't. So that's what we're seeing the response with. But actually, unless we change the system, well, the Conservative Party will be staying and will be the most dominant right-wing party.
Kelvin, I just wonder whether or not you think there's a lack of cojones in the Conservative Party at the moment. People know what Conservative values are, and if you do look at polls, like the GB News People's poll there, people are pretty straightforwardly clear about what they want. They want things like a tighter immigration law and less illegal immigration, and dare I say, I don't think anyone really wants to be paying more tax, do they? But the Conservative Party don't seem to want to do that because they get shouted at from the left, and actually, I think they've got a lack of bottle, for want of a better phrase. Another word beginning with
Well, I do accept that one of the issues that emerged with COVID, which emerged actually with things like universal credit, is that everybody in our country has got their hand out. Even the middle classes have got their hand out. It's an extraordinary thing. And immediately you say, put your hand away, there's nothing going in it. They say, yeah, we're going to vote Labour, right? So actually, you've just got to take on these people. And unfortunately, what's happened is we've ended up with a bunch of people, and Boris was as guilty as any of them. And the idea that Boris is standing in Uxbridge, I guarantee you now, keep this piece of video. he gets slung out in Uxbridge. So his political ambitions are over. OK, he did one good job, which was Brexit, and the rest of it, anybody who knocked on the bloody door at number 10 and said, do you mind putting 8 billion in there? Do you mind putting 50p in there? Do you mind putting 100 grand in there? He said, yeah, join the queue over there. By the way, Rishi, sign them a check, will you? He was a shocker. So he's going to get slung out. And actually, I will be delighted.
Reem, are we witnessing something now, and I don't want to pin this entirely on you, but is it all your fault, Reem? Because people of your age, OK, and your particular age group are more lefty, would you say? And are we just witnessing now the natural progression? You've come out of being indoctrinated by left-wing teachers at school, and they're all going to vote Labour at the next general election.
I hope that I can serve as some kind of representation for young people that haven't gone to the wacky left, and actually we do sort of understand the benefits of the free market. We understand the benefits of free markets and freedom, and we actually don't want any of this sort of lefty nonsense. We aren't sitting there campaigning for momentum or praying to a shrine of Jeremy Corbyn. You know, we do understand that the value of this, but actually what we're seeing for a lot of young people is the Conservative Party isn't conservative. So actually, even if we hold these values, there isn't a sort of vessel that we can argue these ideas towards. Whether or not it's the rest of young people's fault, I think that what we're seeing is, of course, a huge generational divide. But again, I'm not saying that necessarily the old generation is particularly right-wing at all either. I mean, we're thinking about increasing spending on pensions, on the NHS and health and social care. These are huge amounts of public spending, and that generation refused to change it. Hopefully my generation will.
Kelvin, go on.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. The truth about the matter is that all the wealth in our country, it belongs to people who look like me, right? That is the trouble, right? Ugly, losing their hair, going to seed. No, seriously, elderly have all the wealth because the way that house prices have moved, right? So my mother's house, you could bought. But she bought for 7 grand in 62.
Yeah.
Now worth about 3.5 million quid, right? All the wealth is there. And the other aspect is that the young, right, A, don't want to work very hard. B, can see the bosses are all going on 3 days a week and 2 days at home, actually doing no bloody work at all, playing tennis up at my local tennis club, right? So actually the young are saying, well, actually, we don't really like this work idea. What we'll do is we will work out ways of poisoning our parents so we can get a hold of the inheritance early, and that way we can do absolutely bugger all for the rest of our lives. They're an absolute disgrace, anybody aged under 30.
Reem, final word to you.
Absolutely not true at all. Young people are incredibly hardworking and want to work hard, but actually the tax system means that we're not incentivised to do so. We have the highest tax burden, not only in 70 years anymore, but the highest tax burden on record. What reason do young people have to stay? We're thinking about...
They're not earning the money. The young people aren't earning the money. How does tax affect them?
Over people
the tax doesn't even kick in until 12.5 grand.
We are hard-working. We are the people that are working at the moment. We've got a huge ageing population. Young people, young taxpayers are who are funding the health and social care, the NHS, pensions. We're doing that. Let us work.
We've hit time.